I had 4 strips of bacon, 3 eggs, and a couple freeze-dried meals in my backpack. And that was all I had until payday. I was 64 years old, former tech exec, former president of Intel's board of advisors, and I'm living in my pickup truck on Thanksgiving in Idaho. And I was exactly where I was supposed to be. Oh, it was cold. Man, the river had froze up, and it was a big river. The sky was slate gray. There was snow falling. It was so cold that the ice in my cooler had not melted. So I walked around the back of the pickup and climbed up over the tailgate, closed the topper behind me. It was cramped in there, but cozy. I had a platform built in the back and a queen-size mattress on top, one of those high-tech foam jobs, couple wool blankets, a down sleeping bag. That kept the cold out. I was hungry, but I was not depressed. I had a plan, and even though times were tough, I was moving forward. I would persevere. See, earlier that year, I realized that the Mountain Man chapter of my life was coming to an end. And I made plans for the next chapter. I was going to be a successful writer. That was the goal. I had written 3 books in my real-life adventure series, and they'd done pretty good. But really, it was more of a hobby than a vocation. I wasn't making enough money to live on. So I contacted some friends in the business world, talked to them about doing some seminars that next spring at their sales conferences. And I planned one more big adventure to end my mountain man life. I was going to spend the winter of 2019 and 2020 in the Frank Church Wilderness alone in a tent. And then that spring come out and start my new life. Great plan. So that summer I built this platform in the back of my truck. I stuffed a bunch of books underneath there, booth banners and camping gear, and I drove around the country, going to art festivals and gun shows, any civic event where they would let me set up a booth, talk to people about adventure, and sell some books. And sometimes I sold enough to stay in a hotel, but more often than not I camped. And that lasted all through the summer till September. But the next adventure didn't start till December. So I had 2 months to kill. Didn't make sense to rent an apartment or a house. I'm not even sure you can rent a house for 2 months. And staying in a hotel was out of the question. So I was homeless by choice, you could say. That's true enough. And I moved forward. I went through the winter in the Frank Church Wilderness, exceeded all expectations. I got all kinds of great material for a new book. And then my friend came out in March to pick me up on a snowmobile because the passes were still snowed in. And he rode me out over the mountains to where I could meet the mail carrier who agreed to take me back to Chalice. When I got to town, a friend of mine drove me to Salmon, where I talked the guy at the Ford dealership into driving me up to Missoula for $150. And that's where I could catch a plane to New York City. And I got to New York City on March 13th, 2020. I got there just in time for the grand opening of the COVID pandemic. Bad luck, man. March 15th, the president said that all group gatherings would be canceled. And the next day, all 3 of my customers called to cancel the seminars. There wouldn't be any work that I could bill against, no invoices, no revenues coming. The plane tickets were already used. The hundreds of books I'd ordered, I had to reroute those to Idaho. And the 6 weeks I'd paid for the Airbnb, it was gone. No refunds, total chaos. Bad luck. So my plan had to change, but not the goal. See, I have enough experience with success to know that sometimes we reach our goals in unexpected ways. A lot of times, the universe kind of tests you. And it's not until we demonstrate our commitment to a plan that Providence intervenes. But if you persist, sooner or later, the cosmos will cooperate. And it did. Bad luck that everything fell apart, but good luck that a friend of mine had a cabin I could rent. 400 square feet, no heating, no insulation. Wasn't a real comfortable place, but it was just what I needed to write. I met Ella. That was good luck. I mean, not in person. We met online, and I didn't really get to meet her until the borders opened in July of 2021. But we started working on a relationship, and that was a good thing. And here we are all these years later, and there's eggs and bacon in the refrigerator. I even got some Irish cream for my coffee. I live in a house where I'm warm and dry. We got a big garden in the yard. And better than all that was the unexpected gift of love. I learned a lot from that. I made notes like I always do. I want to read one of them to you here now. Success in life is not about preparation, and it's not about lucky breaks. It's about staying the course, even when you give your best and you come up short. When you wake up the next day resolved to make it happen again, and you come up short again. When no one knows or really cares, and you choose to persevere. It is about being the most stubborn individual walking your path of choice. And even in the face of another heartbreaking setback, moving forward with your dream. That is what success is all about. And even in your darkest moments, and there will be some, I wish you much success. 4 strips of bacon, 3 eggs, a couple months living in my truck. Best investment I ever made. See you soon.